Yo, this sequencer here is insane, and it will probably change how I will approach my live sets. What you've just been hearing was Sting 2 sequencing the Moog Mother-32, and I've completely controlled it via the Push 3. This is a new workflow I've been experimenting around with for a couple of days now, and I absolutely love it. It gave me so much expressive control of my live sets. It really made it so fun to sequence all of this stuff, and together with you guys, I now want to do a little bit of a deep dive to see what we do here. So let's go. So maybe first, let's quickly take a step back. What actually is Sting 2? Sting, or Sting 2, the new version now, is an Max for Live device by Kvndra, and the idea behind it is to generate sequences on the fly. So you only have one big button, which is a smiley, and you click on it, and every time you click on it, it generates a new sequence for you. And you have different parameters that you can set up that change the sequence that is generated. That was already the idea of Sting 1. Sting 2 now takes this to an even further level and brings more accessibility and playability into it. And most importantly, and this is what we'll be looking here, is Sting 2 has a full Push 3 and I think also Push 2 integration, and you can shape your sequences on the fly, which makes it obviously extremely interesting for live artists. Let's take a look now at what we are actually seeing here and how the interface is structured. So if you know your regular kind of like thing, or my template, so to say, for Ableton Live, this is it. So here I can mute and unmute the music that is playing. Here are some performance effects. And yeah, that basically was the way how I have been playing with my live setup in the past. Now there is a new element. So whenever here I'm going to my Mother-32 track, which is the device that Sting is sequencing, you can see the interface is changing. And this is basically the new performance Sting interface, where we have full control over the device itself. I will for now solo the Mother-32 track here so we can see what's going on. The first row is actually kind of like the style of generated notes, so to say. So the way how Sting works is you can set a different style, and the idea is that if you go all the way here to the left, so to say, you get more acid-like sequences. And the more you go here, the more melodic they should get. And you can already hear that's a nice way to create different variations of patterns. Okay, the second row controls the density. That means how many notes are played in the sequence. So right now the density is set to 12 steps out of 16, and you can hear there are still pauses between the steps. If I set this now to 16, the sequence is completely running through. Some notes are also a little bit overlapping. You can also play around with the gate settings, which I don't want to dive into today, but this is how you can control that. And if you, of course, make the density lower, you'll just have a few notes playing. Just 4 in that case, or make it 8. You can already hear how the sequences are changing and how you can how you can generate variations of the stuff that you are doing. The next row controls the step length. So how long is your sequence running? So right now it's 16 steps. We can also set it to 8. We can also set it to 6 to do something polymetric. Let's get a kick drum in. So yeah, now we have a kick drum going and you can already hear the polymetric sequence. Even more interesting if we do that with just 3 steps. Or play around with the length. Until you kind of like come back to 16 steps, which was our kind of like default state here. I hope you can already see how much playability that offers you, but another thing I find really cool, the last row here, or the last 2 rows, is basically a chromatic mode. And here you can transpose your sequence on the fly, which also is great for live performance. So let's say we have this sequence running. We are now in C. So let's say this is a C. We could transpose it to F, to G, and back, to give it even more variation. And now if you combine these techniques and we bring in some more elements, you will now very quickly get some really nice results. Going with that all day. It's just so much fun, really. I've already created so many happy accidents using that, and that's just for live stuff. So the good thing is with Sting, you can also, if you have a MIDI pattern that you really like, you can immediately export that MIDI clip and then keep going with your arrangement if you use it for songwriting. So many possibilities. A last thing I just wanted to show you to get your creative juices flowing is basically the smiley. So right now we've been playing around with the same sequence all over again. We've been changing it, but the big advantage of that is we can always go back to the initial sequence that we've started with, right? Because if you constantly keep changing the sequence, there is no way that other people can recognize what you've been initially doing. So I think it's really important to have such a safe state that we can fall back to so that people recognize it as a coherent jam and not as something that's constantly, the melody is changing and there's no repeating elements. So yeah, that's basically, that's the element we have been starting with, right? And now if you look here in the screen, there's one option that says generate every, you can now basically determine yourself when you want the generate to happen. And if we do that and hit that on, we can now say after how many bars a new sequence should be generated. So let's set it here to 2. And now after 2 bars, what you will experience, now the lights have been flashing and now we have a new sequence. Another new one, another new one. So it now constantly keeps giving us these new sequences. And what I like to do is I like to set it to something like 4, which gives me enough time to listen to the sequence. A new one. that's not the one we like. Okay, let's say this is the one we like, and now we would just set this one here to off, and we have this sequence now locked in. So we can now, as we did before, start to play around with this sequence. Change the step length. Change the density. Change the style. Oh, that's nice. Let's give it a little bit more density. A little bit less. Yeah. You see, I could go on endless with that. So all of these controls just give you endless possibilities to create new sequences on the fly, which why I think this tool is exceptional for live artists. You can just integrate it in your setup. It's super easy to sequence either external gear, or you could also use it to sequence Ableton's internal synthesizers with that, and this way create constantly new patterns and new melodies on the fly while you're performing with your live set. So yeah, Sting 2 really changed the way how I approach live playing and sequencing. It's like this constant tool that gives you new inspiration. It feels like an interaction with another musician that throws musical ideas at you and you have to react to them. So yeah, especially if you're a solo artist, I think that can definitely change your way of doing things. If you want to check out the device, the link is in the video description. Leave Kvndra a couple of bucks there. He has so much deserved it. It's an amazing tool, and I'm pretty sure you can also find ways to integrate it into your setup. And if you want to exchange more with other like-minded folks and nerds, I've just opened my Discord community called Melodic Minds. It's a place where I want to bring the community together. We exchange on our workflows, we give feedback to tracks that we are working on, and sometimes we just chat about life and things coming our way. So yeah, if you want to join that, I would love to see you there and welcome you there. The link also is down in the video description. And I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, thumbs up and a sub to the channel is always appreciated, and I can't wait to see you for the next one. So stay creative, and I see you hopefully next week. Bye bye.